Welcome back to the Arcus Air training video series on the operating room and delivery room process. Previously in this series, we discussed the surgery planning and scheduling, the preoperative care. We also demonstrated the surgery and delivery sub-process. We will now move on to the final sub-process in this series, which is the post-operative care. This video applies to the following users: OR charge nurse, OR staff nurse, DR or NCU charge nurse, IP staff nurse, and IP charge nurse. And with that, let us begin with post-operative care. We are now logged in to Arcus Air as an IP staff nurse under the intensive care unit. We are in the ward ICU. In the ward board, we can select the patient. Previously, this patient was transferred from the OR to this room for post-operative care. To check in the patient to the room, in the visit details of the patient, we can click More Options, then click Check In. We can also add our check-in comments, then click Yes. This will be reflected in the bed movement history, as well as in the patient tracking. To record the charting for the post-operative care, we can click the charting function, we can record the vital signs in the vital signs panel under the observation tab. To recap, for vital signs that fall outside the reference values or normal ranges, the vital sign will change in color to serve as an alert. To save the charting, we can click Save. To record the clinical forms of the patient, we can navigate to the EMR by clicking View EMR. In the EMR, in the right-hand menu, we can click Clinical Documents, then click the Forms tab to view the forms recorded for the patient. To record a new form, we can click New. We can view the forms from each category by clicking Expand, or we can search for the form template. For forms that are in progress or draft, we can modify the form by clicking the Modify button. After clicking Modify, we can make the necessary changes, then save the form or save and close to go back to the forms list. Once a form has been finalized, it can no longer be modified. As we can see, there is no modify icon for us to click because we cannot modify anymore the form. To view the recorded form, we can click View. If any medicine orders have been placed for the patient by the care provider or surgeon, Once this has been dispensed by the pharmacy, we can navigate to the EMR to check in and administer the medicine. Navigate to EMR check-in, select the medicines to check in, and click check-in. Enter the username and password, then click save. To check in the medicines. In today's dosage, we can click the bubble to administer the medicine. We can scan the patient barcode to auto-populate the MRN in this field. To be able to save the administration, we must have a cosign user and our own username and password. As we can see, the status of the administration has been updated. To record the nursing progress notes, let us go back to the EMR. Select our patient from the ward. To record the nurse progress notes, let's navigate to the EMR of the patient. Under the daily progress, we can see the physician progress notes and the nurse progress notes. To add the nurse progress notes, click Add. Then the progress notes can be typed in free text. Click Save, and the progress notes will be displayed in the EMR. Once the patient is finished with the post-operative care, then we can record the patient's movement to the other department or ward. Let us close the EMR. In the visit details, we can click More Options, then click Send to Department. We can type the patient's original department or ward, then click Save. This will be reflected in the patient tracking. To release the post-operative care bed, we can click Release Bed. We can release the ICU bed used for the post-operative care. Click Save to release the bed. Let me change my department to the ward of the patient. Once the patient has arrived to the primary bed, we can click the patient from the ward, and to indicate that the patient has arrived at the primary bed, we can click More Options, then click Check In. Click Yes to check in the patient. This will be recorded in the patient tracking. Let us now do a recap of what we have discussed in this video. First, we were able to see how to access the More Options menu in the patient's visit details to access the options for check-in and send to department. We were also able to see how we can record the charting by clicking the charting function, how to record the forms by clicking the clinical documents function from within the patient's EMR. We were also able to see how to record the nurse progress notes from the EMR and how to release the post-operative care bed by clicking Release Bed in the patient's visit detail. We can click the patient from the wardboard, and in the visit details, we can click the More Options menu. This is indicated by three vertical dots. Click More Options, then click Check-in to check in the patient to the post-operative care bed. We can record the charting by clicking the charting function. We can record the clinical forms of the patient by going to the EMR and clicking Clinical Documents. The nurse progress notes can also be recorded in the EMR by clicking Add in the nurse progress notes section. To send the patient to another department, for example, the original ward of the patient, we can click Send to Department and select the ward of the primary bed of the patient. To release the post-operative care bed of the patient, you can also click the Release Bed from the visit details of the patient. Let us take note of the following key reminders for the ORDR process. First, using another person's login when doing transactions in the system is strictly prohibited. Second, make sure all necessary information are encoded before finalizing a form. And lastly, verify first before making any changes to an order, such as cancel, discontinue, hold, and etc. The following tips will also come in handy in Argus Air. First, for search and select fields, we can type an ellipsis or three dots to view a scrollable list. The required fields are also denoted by a red asterisk and highlighted by a red underline. We can also use the filter function to make searching for records easier. And finally, we can access menu functions from the patient's visit details without having to go to the EMR, such as EMR, charting, orders, and etc. And with that, we will conclude this training video series on the operating room and delivery room process in Argus Air. Thank you.